Morning here, looking out at the folks that have gathered. Thank you for coming out. This is abnormal, I must say, for a July board meeting. We usually have about 7 show up, and we're scrambling on the phone. But thank you for coming out. We do have a number of items that we need to take action on, and if we didn't have a quorum, we weren't going to be able to do that. So thank you very much, and we are live streaming. Thank you for those that are joining us online. We appreciate you observing and following, what we are doing. We'll call to order, and I'm going to ask Chappie, if he doesn't mind, Dave Schlichter, if he would lead us in a word of prayer. Thank you.
Father, thank you for your call on our lives as the body of Christ. And as we offer ourselves to you individually, you use us with our gifts and talents and abilities. And tonight we come to you seeking you, Holy Spirit, your wisdom as we guide the direction, the course of your church, that this belongs to you. And we ask that you would give us your spirit, that we would have understanding and love for one another. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chappie. The backdrop is a little bit different than what we're used to. Christy and her troops are hard at work. It looks great. In the church, down the hall. Awesome. Kids are going to have a great time, I know. So thank you for all your work and all your volunteers helping out. I will... if something comes out of this behind me, y'all let me know. We've got a number of sets of minutes that need to be approved. They were posted on our website. And I want to thank Kathy, our secretary, and Kevin for posting those and getting those up ahead of time so we don't necessarily have to read those. You were given a copy of those out front if you'd like to look over those. Or if we're ready, we can roll right into those. The first set was from our regular business meeting on April the 14th this past year. So we'll address those if there's a motion to approve or if there's questions or discussions. And if you have any questions or comments, we're live, and if we don't hold a microphone in front, and I was just indicated I got to get it up here, if we don't do this for you folks as well, nobody can hear you, both here and online. So anybody that has a question, or if a motion is in order, we would entertain that as well. We have a motion to approve from Ashley Williams. Thank you. Is there a second? Second from Gene White. Are there questions or discussion regarding the minutes from April 14th, 21? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the April 14th meeting, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. The minutes are approved. Now, there is a meeting that I didn't get it listed here. There was a May 26th called meeting, and you do have minutes for those passed out, and they were posted as well. That was a very short called meeting. Are there any corrections, or do I hear a motion to approve those minutes as well? Motion to approve from Mr. Ed Reddick. Thank you very much. Is there a second? Second from Larry McPherson. Thank you. Any discussion, questions regarding the minutes from the May 26th meeting? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the May 26th minutes from the called business meeting, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Minutes stand approved. And the final minutes are those from June 6th, called business meeting. Short meeting again. Is there a motion that they be approved as well?
So moved.
Thank you. Dave Schlichter made a motion. Is there a second? Second from Cindy McPherson. Thank you very much. Any questions, discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the June 6th call business meeting minutes, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Minutes stand approved. Thank you very much. And I know our our finance director or chairman of the committee has been working hard here in the last few minutes. Are you ready? You need a few more minutes. We can roll on down and come back in a few minutes if that would. Okay. We'll do that then and come back. There's some copying being done on some of those. We'll get into our old business. We've got some church projects. Many of those have been completed and wrapped up. But I would ask Mike Idlett from the Building Grounds Committee if he would come up and give us some updates on all this.
First item, I think, is your media room expansion. I think we're just about 100% done with that. We're going to put in there also the controls. Steve, I think, is going to try to put the controls in there that control the lights to the sign and the front lights that will light up the front of the church. That will be added to it, and I think that the security committee is going to put maybe another screen in there. But I think mostly everything's done except for making a cover to go over that window so we can lock it up. So any questions on the media room? Steeple. Woo. We got 3 years to spend the money for this thing, and it's taken a year just to get somebody to even talk about the thing. We've got an estimate in for about $37,000 just for the steeple itself. That's not counting the cost of a crane to come for a day's time to be on site here to set the thing in place for the guy to install it. I haven't gotten a price on that yet. Any questions on that? Yes.
How much of that will insurance pick up?
We're responsible for $2,000. Anybody else?
Mike, you might share, we do have a company that if they can get resin,
Yeah.
they're ready to work on it.
Yeah.
Resin is in short supply.
Yeah. Resin's very, very short right now, and your major boat companies are buying most of your resin up right now, and your small guys are not able to even purchase this stuff. It's as bad as paint. We painted the media room out here with a grade higher than what we got everywhere else because we couldn't buy that particular paint. They just can't get it. That Pro 200 that we've been using all around the church here. So anyway, that's just another thing. We do have another estimate from a company out in Kentucky for an aluminum steeple. But from everybody I've talked to, you can't use an aluminum steeple if you do not want to have a little problem in the future so far as repainting, and also condensation is bad inside these things if they're not fully insulated. So, and most of them are not insulated. So that's the two that I've got. And the sign out front, Davis Monument over in Elizabeth City is supposed to be measuring these columns to put a little small four-sided cap on each one of them out of the material that they make your tombstones out of, granite or marble, whatever. I don't know what that is. She hasn't given me a price on it yet, but I want it to sit down over the top of the brick about 3/4 or ½ an inch just to cover up the top of the brick, and that'll just make it look a little more finished, I think. So that's what we're waiting on for that. The sidewalks in concrete out front, you've seen the new sidewalk. We just had that put in last week. And when they were taking the old concrete away, the little corner broke off this corner over here, and Willie Ward's going to come over and replace these brick. I bought 106 brick from the brick company. They're right here. He was supposed to be here yesterday, but I'm still looking for him. And he's also going to put a bottom step on these back steps that go into the old kitchen. We didn't have any concrete there. That cost an extra $180. That's why the price went up a little bit on what you originally approved to do the whole thing. The sanctuary exterior siding, I've got one quote to repaint all of the aluminum, $22,500. I'm trying to get a quote to find out how much we could cover the thing for in possibly vinyl, because I understand, somebody's told me, I haven't seen it, they say some of these windows have got some rot in them. So if we're going to do anything outside, we've got to repair them first before we do anything else. So, and I'll try to get a couple of other painting projects. Any question on that? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. He has put in a lot of hours getting many of these projects off the ground, and the steeple has turned his hair gray just in the last year. We're going to talk more in a little bit about capital project needs here at the church. We've got an aging campus and a lot of needs to be addressed, and we'll be talking about that. We've had some research done and I would call it a preliminary presentation from the Children's Committee regarding replacing the playground equipment out back of the church here. We did some research. There were some questions raised about warranty on that structure. After digging in and looking at it, the warranty only covered residential use. Church use is not considered residential use, so our warranty doesn't exist. So the deacons, we'll have Susan come up, if you will, Ms. Buzzard, and she's got a little presentation for you as well. So thank you. Don't step in the fire.
All right, Carter, we can do this. It's going to be okay, bud. Here we go. Some of our problems with the current playground that we assessed as the Children's Committee is that it is over 10 years old. The wood has broken down in several places. We've had to have a lot of different pieces replaced. It's caused hazardous climbing conditions. As a professional who works with children, I don't like tube slides because the tunnels create hazards. The big kids love to climb on the outside of them, and the little kids love to do whatever the big kids do. And so we'd love something without tube slides. The current set is too small for the number of our children in our children's ministry, which is a great problem to have. You guys, we have too many kids. Aw, darn it, we're telling too many kids about Jesus. And it doesn't provide ample elements for all ages. So if you look at our set, we really can't engage from pre-K all the way up to 5th grade at the same time. It's just not small enough and engaging enough. So our new playground needs. There's nothing up there. What is Carter doing, you guys? What are we even paying him for? That should have already been there. Next one. You're doing good. All right. The new playground needs. Carter, you are doing awesome. We need to be able to accommodate children ages 2 to 12. Okay, so we want something for all of those kids. We want to be able to accommodate 30-plus children at one time. We want elements that can afford for free play and structured or guided activities that we might want to do out there. We want to provide for seating for adults and children. If you've been back there, you've seen we have 2 awesome new benches that have been donated, and those are really great. So we'd like to add another little kind of seating area for the kids, and a gathering area, some shade for the adults and for the kids when we're out there for longer periods of times. And just a new playground once. Listen, pie in the sky would be a new surface. The tire shred was all the rage 10, 12 years ago, but a couple of problems that we've noticed is that it comes in the church in the shoes all the time, and it's really hard to get rid of once it comes in. It also never goes away. So we just constantly find that it can be kind of messy. But I will tell you that in talking with the professionals from the different companies that I've been talking with, the rubberized surface is astronomical. Just for the bay that we would need for the swings would probably cost like $30,000 for that rubberized. And that's after you've already created the hard surface poured concrete. So it's bananas. But I was just, I was dreaming big. But other people have said, like, what about resurfacing? Well, I thought about resurfacing, and you guys just settle down, okay? Settle down. All right. Give me the next one. So here's some stuff we're looking at. We're looking at things that allow kids to climb safely, explore space, and have fun, but can also accommodate a large number of kids. And so this is one of the climbers that we're looking at. It suits kids ages 5 to 12 years old. It can accommodate 8 to 10 children at any given time. And we're also looking at things that have a small footprint. And so when I was pulling up different equipment, I didn't want stuff like you see big pieces that span like huge. We don't have a huge area to work with. And so these are kind of things that would fit in. They're more compact, meant for compact green spaces. So we have this one. The next one is, for this one, affords for a 0 entry. And so for the little guys, the pre-K, the 2-year-olds, they can climb right up those stairs. It allows space underneath with the little tic-tac-toe spinny beads. So it gives them some stuff that they can engage in, slides that are safe for them, and other points of entry. So it's for kids ages 2 to 12 years old. Child capacity, 20 kids could be engaged someplace at any given time. The next one would be a 2-bay swing set. We would look at putting this somewhere other than our current playground space, okay? Because if you've ever been around kids who are swinging, you've been kicked in the head. So we don't want for that to happen, so we'd love to set up a new space. Everything else we'd like to fit in our current space, but then set up a new space that would be the dedicated bay area for the swings, and just a 2-bay swing set. The single pebbles, these are things that you can do different locomotor things with kids, leading them through guided activities, and we would order 4 of these, and they would lead up to they would be a separate entryway onto the longer climber thing that we showed that has the steps. This would be another way to get onto that. You would have like stepping stones up. The zigzag balance beam, another kind of little locomotor area where kids could climb, play games, do some different guided or free play activities. And then a sunshade for our leaders and our kids to kind of get together. It creates a central gathering area where kids are not going to be distracted and climbing on things. Okay, if you call all the kids over to one area of the playground, you've always got them throwing mulch or climbing on slides or distracted by something, where if you have a separate kind of space, then we're going to have less of that. So we'd like to order a sunshade and a couple of benches to go under that for the kids as well. So the final, when I first started doing this research, it was back in May at the end of the school year, and we were looking at about $20,000. That's for all of that equipment. Okay, that doesn't include shipping, installation. The guy at the playground company that I'm talking with, he actually is working on, he said he would have it to me by tonight, but he didn't, maybe by tomorrow morning. But they're out of Winston-Salem, and so what he's sending me now is a line item plan that would include all the shipping, installation, if we choose to go with them for installation. He said that he would recommend shopping around and seeing what local companies are licensed and insured for doing this type of installation. It's not something that you want to do on your own or have your Baptist men. You guys are awesome, but you're not allowed to do this. Just for insurance purposes, he said you have to have someone who's professional and insured and licensed to put this equipment together so that it's going to be covered by warranty and good for years to come for the kids to play on. So he's going to send me that all itemized so that we can look that over and then kind of give me an idea of maybe who some people in our area are that we might be able to go with for installation, because they would be coming all the way from Winston-Salem if they had to install it. And that would be, he said it probably cost-wise would be a lot more efficient for us to look even at someone in Hampton Roads to come and do the installation if we decided to move forward with this type of project. So this is what we've been working on as the Children's Committee, and there you go. Is that all you wanted me to do? I did not, the floor is not open for questions. No, go ahead. Yes. He did. He actually said that it could be concrete, or it could be, because it's substantially cheaper, just to do the compressed gravel. As long as it's a solid surface, you could do the rubber on top of it. He said that if you have the pad prepped first with the compressed gravel or the concrete, then it's only going to run you about $12 per square foot. Where, I know, Brad, I know, where if you don't have that done in advance, you're looking at like $20 per square foot.
So if we poured our own concrete slab, which of course we can do that.
Yeah, I know you can.
And I'm just wondering if, is there anybody else that you can contact that would give you additional pricing on the $12 per square foot?
I'm sure I could. Chad actually looked at some other companies as well and told me that yeah, he actually came up with numbers higher than what the playground company gave me, so.
what? Oh, at South Park. Have you
Yeah, they
seen
have
on
it at
their
River
playground?
Road.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was, I don't know if we could maybe get a price on that. I'm sure that would be cheaper.
Ballpark in South Park has a place set with artificial grass in it.
So you would like for us, so a member of the Children's Committee is suggesting that the Children's Committee now look into turf. Noted. Got it. Anybody else?
Susan, do y'all have an idea of these areas that are not going to be considered in the existing playground structure? You got an idea where that's going to go and any prep or site work to get those areas ready?
The only thing that would not fit is the bay for the swings, because it would be a safety concern. Everything, and when he sends me, the new schematic that he sends me is going to include the square footage recommendation for every single piece of equipment. But based on what my prior looking at it, but I'm just a gym teacher, not a math teacher, it looks like everything aside from the swings will fit on our current platform.
You got an idea where you want to put the swings?
I'm open for suggestions on where we put swings. The farthest away from kids' heads is my suggestion. Thanks. Yeah, actually, the guy from the playground company he had just left a playground safety meeting today, and he said that the number one concern is the kids running in front of kids swinging, not kids jumping off of swings. That's when most of the accidents happen. So he said it's okay to let kids jump off of swings, but don't let kids run in front of them. I was like, all right. Anything else? All right. Hopefully, I'll have that itemized list to the deacons when he sends it to me tomorrow. I'll just forward that on to y'all, and you'll have more information to work with, and I'll go work on that AstroTurf quote.
Thank you very much, Susan and the Children's Committee. The Susan Buzzard Committee. No, that is something the church does need to look into. What we have out there is getting to a point of probably unsafe. And we've got a Bible school happening that I don't know if we want to turn kids loose or not, but that's all right. We will come back to the church with further budget items, details on this cost, installation, shipping, and maybe any additional information on AstroTurf instead of and it's a rubber cork material. If you've been to some, it's very nice, very durable, but it's very pricey. So we just need to decide which way we'll go on that. Our next item under old business, well, do we want to pause? Suzette, would you like to come forward and take care of the finance reports? All right, thank you. Come on, Suzette.
I don't like to speak. Can y'all hear me? I don't know what I'll do without having both my hands. This ain't gonna work. So everybody, did you get a copy of the finance report? Okay, so for second quarter, our total expenditures on our budgeted line items on page 2 is $60,797.93. So we are looking good through second quarter so far on our budget. I'm going to lose that. That's going to end up in the floor. Okay, and then if you'll look on page 4, our undesignated funds for the quarter was $69,084.93. Our rental income was $3,075. Sales and use tax refund, $395.11. And designated fund donations, $14,238.85 for total deposits and offerings of $86,793.89. So our total balance in our checking account as of June 30th was $169,358.21. We through June are meeting our weekly needs. Our weekly needs are 5304.98, and we are averaging about 5332. So we did move the CD that was at Atlantic Union Bank to Town Bank in May, and unfortunately the interest rates are horrible, but that interest rate was actually better than the one was at Atlantic Union, so the 0.17, which is absolutely just about nothing, but we just renewed that for a 12-month term so that maybe things will be better next year. And then we have a total of $100,000, 110.25 in our money market account. And then we did have additional expenses out of our general fund second quarter in the amount of $12,361.67. So are there any questions?
Just stay right there for a minute. Any further questions for Suzette in regards to the second quarter financial report? Is there a motion that be approved? So moved from Mike Idlet. Thank you very much. Is there a second? Second from John Kite. Thank you. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the second quarter financial report, please say aye. Same sign for opposed. Passes. Thank you very much, Suzette. Suzette does a wonderful job, and it's a lot of hours, a lot of time taking care of our budget, of signing checks for staff, for payment of bills. She's on top of it, and Suzette, thank you for all that you do. Going back to our old business, we are at C under my list, Classical Conversations Facility Use. Following our last business meeting, a facility use agreement was drafted, about a page-and-a-half document, which spelled out responsibilities for the church, for them, what they were expected to do and to maintain the facility, how they were to leave it. If damage occurred, they were to report it immediately, and they could be financially responsible. We did require that they obtain liability insurance. They read through the whole thing, and Kevin, I don't think there were any concerns other than they asked us to add liability insurance to our policy, and they would pay for the rider. I approached our agent with Farm Bureau, and they cannot do that. They are considered to be a third party to the church, and so we cannot add them to our policy. That has been relayed to them, and so they are looking out on the private market, trying to find policy that would cover them here at the church. I know, talking to Suzette, who's in the insurance industry, there are some smaller companies that will insure them for what they need. You know, if I were with them, I would be asking the mothership to go ahead and get an umbrella policy for all of them. But anyway, we're waiting on that, and other than that, they're in agreement with the facility use agreement. And as I understand it, they would start mid-August if they get everything in order. Have they indicated any date yet, Kevin?
They have not. Rachel was small and passed, and so there's been a little delay.
Okay. Kevin is our point of contact with Rachel, who is the on-site director, manager for the program. And the anticipation, again, is that they could have 6 or 8 kids to start with, and then that could grow potentially. Any questions on the Classical Conversations and their use of our facility? All righty. I put Church Kale Day just as a reminder for the church. That is scheduled for September the 12th at Camp Kale. There will not, I repeat, will not be any church functions here on this campus on September the 12th. Worship service will be held at 11 a.m. at Camp Kale, followed by a catered luncheon on the grounds, and then a good time, perhaps, on the grounds with the church family. So please plan for that. If any of you need a ride, transportation, or you know of someone who needs transportation, please let your deacon know, let me, let Kevin know, and we'll sure arrange to get you there if you're interested in going. Any questions on Kale Day? And this originally, if you remember, this was to be last spring, a year ago. We had some baptismal candidates who wanted to be baptized in a natural body of water, and COVID pushed it off. We went to the fall, pushed it off. Anyway, they got baptized off the shore of Mike Idlet's home down in the Shiloh region. Went very well, but we're still going to hold Kale Day. And we've got some other things we're going to do in KL Day, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Moving on to the Safety and Security Task Force, we reassembled actually, an existing task force to look at the safety and security of our staff, of our members, of participants at church, of our church grounds, of our campus, from whatever threats that might happen. Egress, ingress during emergencies. What doors do we need to have locked during service, if any? Do we need cameras? Do we need one-way doors that you can only get out of from the outside and it locks on the outside? Do we need to be monitoring the campus during service when we've got 175 people sitting in this facility? So that team is tackling that. They're working on it. It is a huge task. They are prioritizing what they feel like are some of the most important items, and they will be bringing that to the church. I don't see the chairman of that committee here this evening. He must have been detained. He had said he'd be here to give us an update. But from the deacons meeting, he gave an update. They are meeting. They are working. And I know, Gene, you remember that. And it is a monumental task. And they're going to come back with recommendations to the church. There's probably going to be some financial tags associated with a variety of those. So any questions, comments on that? All righty. We've got new business we need to talk about. The first item, I'm going to ask Kevin if he doesn't mind dismissing himself. We're going to get to talk about him for a moment. And we'll holler at you when we're done and get you back in. Do you want to defend him? No, you can leave if you like. And what I'm about to say is not news to either of those. Back in April or May, the Board of Deacons received a letter from the State Baptist Convention, and this was sent out to all churches in North Carolina that participate in the State Baptist Convention, saying we would encourage you to give your pastor a sabbatical, a leave, based on the strange year they've had, what they've had to do, what they've had to learn, how they have held the congregation together. And frankly, Kevin and Lynn have gone so far above and beyond this past year, it's just incredible. And so the deacons met with, obviously, Kevin and said, we'd encourage you to take a leave, a sabbatical, and they were encouraging 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Kevin said, I will take a sabbatical, but I can't go 4. He is planning to go 2 weeks right now, the first 2 weeks of August, taken off. The pulpit is right now filled for those 2 Sundays, August the 1st and August the 8th, from our own membership. Our talented folks here will have two speakers from our own congregations. And so he will be gone for 2 weeks to recharge his batteries, to just get away from us. Get away from us, ding-danging him, call him help. I need to relax, to perhaps spiritually recharge himself. And so the deacons are recommending that you, the church, I don't know if we need an approval, but it might be good for the record if we do that. And then there's a second bit on that. So I would either take questions or entertain a motion that the church approve this 2-week sabbatical for the pastor.
Which are you doing first, questions or motion?
Let's do a motion first. Chappie moves that we approve the sabbatical 2 weeks for the pastor. Is there a second? Second, David Burgess. Questions? Awesome. I love it. Hearing none, we've got a motion on the floor that we approve the 2-week sabbatical for him to get away from here, to stretch, relax, spiritually be recharged, perhaps special time for him with God. So, all those in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. The second part of this, in talking about this, the deacons felt like we should assist him somehow. There is a leadership development line item in the budget. It's been there for years, and it's really professional development money for Kevin or staff. I don't know when they've used any of it. What is it, $2,500, Suzette? $2,000 is sitting in that account. The deacons are recommending that we, the church, approve $1,000 be given to him from leadership development before he leaves to use however he sees fit to refresh and renew himself over that 2-week period. Is there a motion that Cindy McPherson moves to approve that? Is there a second? Second, Ashley. Questions, comments? Now, again, this is a check that will be written directly to him, and usually for professional development, you reimburse for conferences, for travel expenses. We felt like, let's give it to him, let him use it however he wants to for those 2 weeks.
What line was that?
Leadership development, is that correct? Yes. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the $1,000 from the leadership development to be given to the pastor for his sabbatical, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much. Somebody want to flag him and tell him they can come back. We won't talk about him anymore for a little bit anyway. The next item, assistant custodian position. Miss Minnie approached the deacons, and she's finally acknowledged that maybe she needs to start slowing down a little bit after 51 years of cleaning the church. Whew. She is not here this evening. I was hoping she would be. We could acknowledge something, but I do need her to be dismissed. She is under the weather, unfortunately. Not just head cold, I think. Hey, you're still employed. You're good.
Okay, I wonder why there was all these people here.
No, I'll just tell you straight up, your sabbatical was approved overwhelmingly, and the church approved giving you $1,000 in advance to do whatever you want. Shh. That was after he comes back. No, the church is fully behind you. We want you to go away and recharge with family. Take some time to spiritually refresh, draw closer to God. So, yes, thank you for all you do. But Miss Minnie approached the deacons and said, basically, maybe it's time that I pull back just a little. She has offered, come January 1, that she would go to halftime, take half her salary, and that she would ask that we use that amount to hire an assistant custodian to help her. They would share the cleaning duties. She said one Sunday I'd do the sanctuary, next Sunday they could do it, and rotate. But they would work together, and this new position would report to Miss Minnie, and they would coordinate the cleaning of the campus. 2 individuals, and I think it's a great idea. I don't know if Miss Minnie will ever totally not do something here at Sawyers Creek. This has been her life, 51 years coming over here, taking care of this place. And she is frankly here at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the mornings when Kevin gets here. No better than that, don't you, Susan? She's on lunch. But she's here early. She works 3 or 4 hours. She'll go home. She'll take a break. She'll come back. She's got her routine. And I'll tell you this, don't interrupt her routine. Larry, question?
I think she told me Monday the day was her birthday, 88.
Tomorrow. Yep.
I knew it was close.
Yep. And how old will she be? 87. 87 years old. Well, back to our main point. We have crafted a job description. There were copies of both her current custodian job description as well as an assistant custodian. And basically, the duties are exactly the same. The assistant simply reports to the custodian and coordinates their work with her so that they're cleaning the church. This will have to lay over 30 days minimum because it will be part of the Constitution and bylaws of the church, so we can't act on it tonight. Salary-wise, what we have talked about the deacons, Miss Minnie makes just under $20,000 a year, which she ought to make more than that, frankly. But we take half her salary. I don't want to give half to somebody coming in. I would give them 80 or 90% of it, and then if it works out, maybe they get the remainder of it. And so I had just roughly figured about $175 a week. That works out to about $8,100 a year. And we've talked about not making it an hourly because, frankly, we don't know how many hours Miss Minnie puts in here. It could be 60 or 80, depending on the circumstances. It's whatever it takes to get this place clean and ready for the next assemblage. And that person who comes on, that would have the same understanding, although it'd be 50% of that responsibility. Questions, comments about any of this thought, about the job descriptions that's there? Again, we can't take any official action, but we want to present it and let it lay over, and we can act on it toward the middle of August or toward the end of August. We have an understanding there may be someone in the church membership interested in taking this on, taking on a part-time, potentially, we don't know. But this position, if approved and becomes part, would be advertised just like our assistant worship leader, who's now Kelly Nolan, and we would advertise, interview, and select and come back to the church with a recommendation. Any questions, thoughts on any of this? This came on a Sunday. Miss Minnie talked to me, and as she talked, I noticed over here was purple. I said, Miss Minnie, how'd the other person end up looking after you had your confrontation? She fell walking. She walks all the way down Sleepy Hollow, and she fell. Her glasses caught the brunt, and then she got a black eye. And I think that made her start thinking about, maybe I do need someone to assist me, be a backup. And so she's a wonderful lady. She works hard, and I think this is a reasonable request. But again, look at that job description. We'll have another meeting, and we can nail out any other final details before we adopt that. Okay? And by the way, Miss Minnie didn't tell her daughters until later Sunday that she fell on that Saturday. So, all right, Church Capital Project Strategic Plan. It's becoming more and more apparent that the age of this facility, particularly the sanctuary and the old, what was the old fellowship hall, which is the choir room and the CA's room, entryway, and so forth, it's got a lot of age on it, and it's starting to show in a variety of ways. The deacons, we spoke, Kevin put together not an exhaustive, but a pretty good list of capital needs, maintenance basically, that we need to do over the next 5 or 10 years. And toward that, I would recommend that we establish a capital projects task force to put together a plan to come back to us, the church, and say, here's the top 25 projects we feel like this church needs to take on in the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe they would prioritize it for us, put some approximate dollar values, not hard figures, but at least that way the finance committee can then start setting aside capital money every year to go toward this list that we need to start taking on. And some of those things, folks, are fairly serious. We've got decaying windows, frames, the exteriors that you can walk up and stick a screwdriver through. The new classroom addition that was done now years ago, there is huge moisture problem underneath that, huge moisture problem. And if we don't get some dehumidifiers under there, we're going to have to be replacing floor joists because they're going to decay. But it's those kind of things we want to do, and also be proactive in new building, new structure, whatever the capital need is, that would be on that list that then we adopt and we start working on it over time. Thoughts, questions, comments? Fortunately, God has blessed this church. Through the pandemic, we met our budget, even exceeded it when we weren't even meeting in here. And right now, during the dead of the summer, when our budget usually falls off 30, 40%, we're making budget. God is good. And we need to take care of this place, His church. And that's what I think this will attempt to do. So I don't know if we need, David, do we need a motion on that, or just, can I establish a task force without a motion? I will start calling 4 or 5 individuals. If you are interested in serving on this, reach out to me. I will try to put a group together in the next couple of weeks that can begin working on this. And my guess would be late fall, early winter, they might have something to come back to the church with. So this isn't something in a couple of weeks they're going to present, but maybe Thanksgiving ball time frame, they can come back with something. All right. I totally forgot. Miss Minnie, sorry. One of the things that the deacons also talked about, Kay, as you may or may not know, is going around collecting donations from us, individual private funds, to be given to Miss Minnie at the Camp Kale Day. We're going to recognize her for her service to this church. It was to have been a 50-year celebration last year. Now, 50 plus, 51, we want to acknowledge her and thank her for her many years. She wants to keep on. This isn't retirement. This isn't thank you, go away. This is thank you, keep doing if you can. And Kay is collecting private money. The deacons felt like we, the church, should also do something for her financially. We talked about it. We felt like we, the church, should at least give $1,000. If the congregation feels like more, that's great. We didn't cap it. We thought a minimum should be $1,000, and that would be given to her, not in a gift card, but here's the cash. Thank you very much. Use it the best way you can. Thoughts, comments, questions, or motions? It is a surprise, so please keep this quiet. I hope she hadn't gotten wind of it. I don't know that she'd be... Miss Minnie is literate, but I don't think technology is her forte. But we'd love to see the church step up and also have private donations that we give to her and say thank you so much. Somebody brought up if we were to pay her for all of her unused sick leave and vacation, holy cow. I don't know if our budget could make it. So, what's the pleasure of the church?
I know she has given so much more, but $1,000 isn't enough, I don't think. I mean, I would say at least 3,000, but that's just what I think.
The deacons were poised to vote on this and do it ourselves. We have a $1,000 limit. That's all we can approve internally of the deacon board. And we held and said, maybe the church might want to do more. And that's the only reason I'm saying $1,000. But if 2 or 3, whatever you'd like to do, I think it'd be very appropriate. We have the resources. We're doing well right now. So, Mike? Is that a motion? Motion that we approve $3,000 from the church.
That's going to be total, or is that going to include free will offering? Pardon? Okay, very good, yes.
$3,000 from the church, and the finance committee will figure out where we take that from. Probably general fund. We're flush. Is there a second to that? Second, Cindy McPherson. Questions, comments, discussion?
I was just thinking, if it's 50 years, why not go 5,000?
Okay, hang on.
I amend to 5,100.
He amends the motion to 5,100. Is there a second to amend the motion? Second. Discussion on the amendment to the motion that we increase it to $5,100, recognizing her 51 years. Questions? We will vote on the amendment first and then go back to the motion. So the amendment is that the original motion be amended to $5,100 from the church plus whatever private donations come in. All those in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion's carried. Now, that means our motion now is that we approve $5,100 for Miss Minnie from the general fund to be given to her in recognition of her 51 years of service. We've got it already. We're moved. Any questions? We're good. Any questions? plus private. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. That, we didn't need it. It was back to the original motion that Mike Islet made and was seconded by, yeah, we amended it, so you go back to that one. So, wow, God is good. The final thing I have on new business. The deacons took it upon ourselves to move quickly on a project that we felt was necessary. We now have over here a lot of money sitting here in a new Clavinova and an electronic drum set that's been moved out of here because of Bible school and everybody in and out. But a surround protective feature needs to be built around that to secure it, keep folks out of there. It would have a gate on it that you could latch and lock. And so it would keep people out of that area and protect that equipment from somebody saying, I wonder if it's on, or what does this button do? Let's play the drum. That's expensive equipment now, and we've got a lot invested, and the deacons felt like, let's go ahead and get something around that. Lynn was pushing. She's ready for something to protect that equipment. It needs to be done. It is being built right now using funds from the music committee, or music funds, designated music funds, and it will look just like this, like the rail that goes around up here. Larry McPherson is heading that up with Jay Cuttrell out at the school.
I started putting the rails and all the rails together this morning. So
Amen.
it's on the way. And Jay is good enough, which he don't actually retire before August, but you know, he was supposed to retire in June, I thought. And he was, you know, telling me, well, I ain't got but 2 weeks. So anyway, he's helping me on it, and well, he's telling me what to do, and I'm doing it. So anyway, I started putting them together this morning at home, and hopefully 2 weeks. When is Bible school? Huh?
Okay. Thank you. That'd be great. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Larry. Jay Cuttrell, if any of you don't know, is the shop educator director here out here at the high school, has access to all the high school equipment, tools, and he's built some other items here for the church. It will be secured to the floor and can be unscrewed very quickly and removed if we need it for whatever purpose. But it'll be a rail that looks just like this. And we move quickly. The funds were there just to get this secured. But so this is FYI. If you got questions or concerns, you know, please voice them. Awesome. And Larry, thank you for your work on that as well. All right, committee reports. Are there any here that would like to present any update or information on any committee? I'm just going to kind of open it up. I know we've got a variety, but anybody? Mike?
That's all the time. But anyway, I had a guy come out today to look at putting some rails in front of the church. And he says, when do you want to put up? I said, tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Well, he's got to make them first. And he showed Kevin and myself some pictures of some stuff that he's done. And it's going to be similar to the railings that we had, but they'll be twisted. They'll have a little bit of ornament in it. We're trying to get a cross put in the 2 long pieces, and also we're going to put a center rail in. My question is, it's going to be more than $1,000, and I'd like, if the church would so move, if I can get this done within the next week or two, I'd like to just request $3,000. I don't know what it's going to cost, but I set that, and we just go from there.
Sometimes we need to strike while the steel is hot.
I think he'll go ahead and get the thing. And one other thing he said, we're changing the top to a little bit wider rail than what we have had. It's a little more decorative. We're trying to get it powder coated. One of the questions he's got is, if you powder coat this, what color do you want? Black, purple, green, red, shiny black, satin, or flat? You know. Is that what you want? Flat? I'll let you see. Anybody.
Yeah, personally, I know a flat sometimes will get chalky over time, where a semi or gloss will give it a sheen and it endures the weather better.
Generally, your gloss will dim to a satin in 6, 8, 10 months, and then it'll be soft. So if that would suit everybody, you're winking.
You good with that over there?
Black is what you want.
Black, I think so, yeah.
But I mean, if I could get approval to do this, I'm stepping out. If I don't want to say, hey, I got to have a church meeting to say, but I think you know where you
What's the
start.
pleasure of the church? You've heard the request. Would you like to approve $3,000 now, and so he can roll with that project? Is there a second? Gene, second. Discussion, questions? Finance, we'll figure out where, probably general fund again, but we'll figure that out. Is there enough in general? Talking 3,000? How about the parsonage? Parsonage fund? So would that be amenable to add 3,000 from the parsonage fund to the motion and the second? All right. Questions? All those in favor of authorizing $3,000 up to $3,000 for the rail, new rail out front from the parsonage fund, please say aye. All opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Any other committees to report? Yes, please, Christy. I was going to try to get you to do that, so please.
So right now we have, oh, okay.
Let everybody see you. There you go.
Okay. So right now we had 70 kids pre-register, and we took some of them and actually asked them to help because they were a little bit older. So we have a kickoff scheduled for this Sunday from 12:30 to 2:30. It's going to be potluck. I know that there's a lot of members in the church that might think like if they don't have kids in it that they can't go. But we've got a water slide. We have these dig pits with like shark seats. So definitely come check it out. Even if you don't have, kids in VBS yourself, like we would love for you to come and talk with some of the families that may not have a home church. So we're expecting a big group. So.
Awesome. And Christy, thank you for all the work you put into this.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. And if you want to see the pastor go down the water slide, be here Sunday. All right, other business, any other committees, anything else to bring before the church? Our next meeting, this is July, would be October, if I'm correct. August, September, October, regular meeting. We'll have a call meeting sometime mid to late August to deal with our assistant custodian position, getting that established and moving on that. Hearing no further business, do I hear a motion we adjourn? So moved. Second. We don't have to vote on that. I've asked George. George, you mind dismissing us in a word of prayer?
Lord, thank you so much for this time we have to be together. Thank you, Lord, also for being with us through this meeting and through every day of our life. Now be with us as we leave and bring us back again at a holy time. We ask these and all those things tonight. Amen.
Before you take off, I'm remiss in not asking our pastor if you've got anything that you'd like to share or say. You got 30 seconds.
That's all I need. No, I just want to say thanks. You guys are the most generous, kind, loving people that I have ever met in my entire life, and it's a privilege to be able to be your pastor. And the love that you've shown my family and I over the last 9 years has just been incredible. It's so good that sometimes when I go to these pastors' meetings and things like that and hear the stories that these other guys are going through, I have to kind of like excuse myself from the conversation because I don't have anything to complain about. So thank you. And I would say that regardless of the financial gift that you just gave me, which is insane. But I do appreciate you. Thank you for helping me become the person I am today. And hopefully if you keep me around a while, I'll become even better pastor because of you. So thank you for that.
Kevin brought this church a long ways in the last year and a half, and he's the glue between he and Lynn holding this thing together, keeping our online services going, keeping folks engaged so we could come back here. So, Kevin, Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Go safely your way, and we'll see you again.